Over now to the U.S., where the stock index futures pointed to a slightly higher open today as investors gear up for another batch of remarks from leading Federal Reserve officials. And with little economic data due out today, investors are likely to shift their attention to speeches by three leading Fed members to see if they elaborate on the state of the U.S. economy after the central bank recently chose to raise rates for the second time in 2017. Looking at the futures numbers there, they are all in the green, with Dow Jones up 0.68%, S&P 0.83% up, and Nasdaq 1.42% up. In Asia, indices closed mixed today as markets awaited MSCI's decision on the potential inclusion of mainland Chinese stocks, even as the dollar strengthened. The Nikkei 225 surged 0.81% to close near a two-year high at 20,230.41. South Korea's benchmark Kospi index edged lower by 0.07%. The Australian ASX 200 declined 0.82% to end at 5,757.3. Markets in Greater China were mixed, with Hong Kong's Hang Seng index off by 0.21%. On the mainland, the Shanghai Composite edged lower by 0.13%, while the Shenzhen Composite climbed 0.118%. We're still talking about markets matters, but here in Africa, Kenya's capital markets regulator says it has not received any notification about a proposed acquisition by KCB Group of a stake in National Bank of Kenya. Reports say KCB had proposed taking over National Bank through a share swap, saying it would initially take over 70% of its shares before announcing its offer for the remaining stake. KCB's chief executive confirmed that the bank had sent an expression of interest in acquiring a controlling stake in MBK to the Finance Ministry, but offered no more details. Kenya's banking sector is experiencing consolidation after the closure of three lenders last year exposed weaknesses caused by lapses in corporate governance. And Egypt's largest listed bank, Commercial International Bank, will seek approval to issue bonds shares to increase its capital by 25% at its next General Assembly meeting. The bank says it will seek to increase its capital to 14.522 billion Egyptian pounds from 11.618 billion pounds through the distribution of a bonus share for every 4 original shares. Away from the markets, the International Monetary Fund's Executive Board has approved $224.8 million in additional credit for Ivory Coast under an existing lending framework. Ivory Coast has emerged from a 2011 civil war to become Africa's fastest growing economy, but the government has had to cut its budget this year amid falling cocoa prices and payment demands from disgruntled soldiers. The additional credit brings total lending under the existing two credit arrangements spread over 3 years to around $900 million. It was unclear how much President Alassane Ouattara's government had requested. The IMF said Ivory Coast had now reached its lending quota under the existing program. And Etisalat has been instructed to transfer its 45% stake in Etisalat Nigeria to a loan trustee after debt restructuring talks with lenders failed. Etisalat Nigeria had been in talks to restructure a $1.2 billion loan after missing repayments. And South Africa's anti-graft watchdog says Barclays Africa Group unduly benefited from apartheid-era bailouts and must repay 1.125 billion rand. That's about $85.44 million, though the bank denied any wrongdoing. Public prosecutor Busiwe Mwane says that the probe had found that the apartheid government breached the constitution by supplying Bancorp, which was acquired by ABSA in 1992 with a series of bailouts from 1985 to 1995. In her recommendations, she said the constitution should be changed to state that the primary objective of the South African Reserve Bank should be to promote balanced and sustainable economic growth.
African Reserve Bank must cooperate fully with the Special Investigating Unit and also assist the Special Investigating Unit in the recovery of the misappropriated public funds. And this conduct constitute maladministration. The chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services must initiate a process that will result in the amendment of Section 224 of the Constitution in pursuit of improving socio-economic conditions of the citizens of the Republic by introducing a motion in terms of Section 73(2) of the Constitution in the National Assembly.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.